What's up guys, today I'm going to show you how I made this as part of my trailer. It's called the Camphor Eye Trailer, which you can check out on Mr. McKenna's Math and Tech YouTube channel. But before that, I'll show you how I actually made this. So I already made this title card for the movie itself. You can see it's called Camphor. Right? And this is just a font, nothing really big. I had to type them individually, make outlines so I could actually transform them, and you can see how the size is like very squished, and I had to transform them like that. And in order to do that, I had to mess with the opacity and the scale so we can see the fading in, the position obviously. And when I tried to mess with the scaling, I had to make sure that they weren't proportional so I can make them squished up like that. And yeah, they're just simple keyframes. And same with position, but once they move, they just kind of fade in, so you can see them fading in. So the K just like, so when you look at it at like 24 frames per second at that speed, it looks like the K is kind of like giving the lead to the Amphor, but really it's just fading in. But anyways, let's get to the title now. To make the title, I had to, same thing here again, I had to individually write the letters, and I have to put them together proportionally spaced so I can make them 3D and it wouldn't look very off. After I made them, as you guys can see, I messed with the transformation and the scaling again, so it looks bigger right here, and then as it goes it gets smaller to the size I wanted. Simple keyframe. And on top of that, I added 2 ambient lighting, one with a bright red, which you can see over here, and a darker red, which we can see in the back right here. And on top of that, I added a yellow parallel light that we can see, which dominates. And the staring card on top is just a simple 2D fade-in animation that we can make. To get into the actual eye part, I'll pull this up again. So as you can see, that like these images are not real. These are AI created images that I went on Firefly and I just went like, just give me an eye pic. It gave me like a whole bunch of eye pics that I then downloaded, and I put it on Photoshop, and then I posterized them so it doesn't look fully real, but it doesn't look fully fake, and you get that gray area over there. And I needed to do that, so in the trailer sequence I actually had one of my buddies, Fo, who I used to transform his eye into the sequence. And in order to connect with that sequence with this sequence, I had to use that gray area so I could make it smooth and it wouldn't look very off. So what I did was I took all these eye images and I just match cut them. And then over here, I had to just zoom in, and you can do that with the scaling, and it was just simple keyframe. So if I actually get to the keyframe, to the sequence, sorry, you can see that there are eye pictures right here. These are all just eye pictures, and I made a whole composition just for them. And it's just like for 1 frame per second, so each frame has a different eye picture, and this goes on for like what, for like around a minute. So I then took this composition, I duplicated, and then I took the title composition that we saw earlier, I duplicated, and then instead of the ambient light and parallel light being yellow, I just changed it to being blue. So now they look blue. And I also took these yellow eye images, duplicated them, and messed with the color grading and turned them blue as well. I think I just turned the tint to a little blue so it looks cooler, and you had to mess with the saturation as well. And then I had to put them in one composition. As you can see, I don't have the files, which is why it looks a little weird. And then for this little flare, I used a blue light, and I had to mess with the opacity so it would kind of like flicker to give me a smoother transition. And that was it. So in the end it would look like this. It looks like this because I also messed with the effects, and I had to posterize all of this. In the background here you can see that I added like this little particles, which I didn't have in my version 1. I'll show you my version 1. This is what my first version looked like. So you can see that there's like no color grading, no posterization, and it looks just like a real image. But then I didn't have a particle in the back as well. I just kind of zoomed in to the actual eye, so like you can see like all the pixels and the pixelated image, and it's not really good quality. This is why I wanted to just, once I scale in, I just want to like reduce the opacity of this so it looks like completely black, and then I could put the title on top, and then I could get the particles in the back going. But overall, that's pretty much it. I'll play one more time. With the sequence, it also looks better. So let me pull up the sequence. So you can see like how it transitioned into his eyes, right? Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.